Today we're going to be celebrating great news about Microsoft Edge, but first, my name is Steve Smith, this is TQA Weekly, and Microsoft Edge was dead on arrival, and Microsoft finally got the memo. You know what? Microsoft is finally killing Edge, and they're going to be making a browser based on the Chromium project, which means they will finally be building a better browser. And if you're wondering what the Chromium project is, it's basically the open source version of Google Chrome. But instead of talking about all the great things that we can talk about when we are referring to the Chromium project, we're going to be celebrating by giving you my 8 gripes about Microsoft Edge. And at the end of this, I want you to write in the comments what your gripes with Microsoft Edge were. And if it's any other browser, go ahead, just make sure you point out which browser you have gripes with at the same time. The first gripe that I have with Microsoft Edge was while it was a decent browser, it had nothing special about it. And with so much competition from frankly better browsers with more and better features, why would most people use Microsoft Edge? That's my first gripe. The second gripe is it had reported issues with graphics drivers, and this hinders the user experience, and this means that people will go and use better browsers. Third, web developers don't typically design websites for Microsoft Edge. There are plenty of great reasons for this, but if you're building a website considering only the most popular browsers, you are likely building your website for Google Chrome and Firefox, and as a bonus, those browsers are basically the norm, which means that you end up being compatible for such practical browsers like Brave. Fourth, Microsoft Edge for some users can be slow with some connections. Software does in fact boot fast, but it has some problems connecting to web servers, which is the entire point of a browser. So for many users in this position, they would end up going to another browser. And while I can agree that it could be the web server itself, thing is that if you're using Microsoft Edge and you have problems connecting to a server, and then you download Google Chrome and then connect to that same server and have absolutely no problem, chances are it's the software, not the actual hardware. Fifth, nobody likes to be told what browser to use. If I told you what to do every single day of your life, you would hate me. And a good thing that this show's only one time a week, isn't it? But the thing is that Microsoft tried to force users to use Edge, whether by making it the de facto default every time you had a large update of the operating system, or whenever you uninstall some software, having it decide that it wants to be the default, or having the operating system say, are you sure you want to use this browser? This browser is better. That alienates people for many reasons. One, being told what to do is literally the last thing that we want to be told. And the other thing is that we are well aware of the fact that Microsoft Edge sucks, and it's not the best browser out there. Otherwise, we wouldn't use it to download other better browsers. Sixth, Microsoft is fighting an uphill battle against other browsers because of weird behavior that Microsoft has had in the past. They have alienated a lot of web developers by basically still supporting really old, non-cross-browser compatible friendly browsers like Windows XP with Internet Explorer. Nobody liked it, and it was still around. And while a lot of businesses still used it, eventually, even people like myself decided that if you're not willing to use a better browser, we are not just going to ignore you. We're just not going to build to the software that you are still using. So the idea of being cross-browser compatible and using modern browsers that actually update all the time is a great thing. And being aware of the fact that they should be using something like the Chromium project to build a better browser means that they're probably getting a little bit more enlightened on the fact that they're always behind. And while we are stating something about being behind, my 7th gripe is that debugging code in Microsoft Edge is a pain in the arse. I am serious. Open up Microsoft Edge and Google Chrome, go to the same website on a desktop, click F12, and you will actually see that without further instruction, most people who have even a most basic understanding of CSS and HTML and even a little bit of JavaScript could probably debug a website by themselves in Google Chrome. Good luck with Microsoft Edge without it using any witchcraft. And of course, 8, the settings menu is terrible. I mean, this is pretty low, but that's also why it's at the end. But the thing is that sure, it loads from the right, and loading from the right would be great, but it looks like trash. It is not made correctly, not made clearly, and because of that, can be confusing. And if you're going to build something in that way, at least make it crystal clear what you're trying to do. I mean, after all, you could have modeled it on your notification area on your computer and just had a bunch of shiny big buttons for people, and that would have made it a lot better, but they didn't. And that's why that is my 8th gripe. And while I am sure there are plenty of other gripes with this specific browser, what I want you to do is to write them down below in the comments. And inside of those, I might actually reply to my own experiences with that. And of course, if you have gripes about other browsers, just point out which browser it is and what your gripe is. Because while Microsoft Edge was one of the worst, there are obviously pros and cons to every single browser. Now, if you like this episode, like it, dislike it if you didn't, share it with those that you think can benefit from this, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions for topics, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com. Go to my website, tqaweekly.com, for everything else, especially show notes, having other ways of contacting me, being able to search the website for other kinds of solutions you are searching for, and as well as being a member that actually renders the website ad-free. So, thank you for watching, and goodbye.